So, welcome back to the 3D Sapiens Road Show, the launch event. This is part B, and again, I'm Daniel D. Davis. I was just telling you about some things I've done, showing you a lot of pictures. I got a lot more pictures, and like I said, lots of stuff. Um, but this isn't all about just fun and games. Best way to just to talk about this is just read this. Probably my two favorite paragraphs in the book. You know, like I said, this isn't just about fun. The years living in Africa were truly a watershed in my life, and my learning curve has been exponential since then. As I went on to live in Romania and then Pakistan and to travel in a total of 36 countries, I witnessed firsthand things that the average American would have trouble believing without seeing with his or her own eyes. Furthermore, after learning a few languages so I could talk to the locals in their own tongue and get to know them better whilst engaging in activities such as skydiving, paragliding, rappelling, canyoneering, and playing guitar, it is becoming undeniably clear that the world is not hearing the complete story regarding human history and the evolution of the status quo. On the bright side, those interactions with my fellow adrenaline junkies, growing up in Ecuador and teaching students from about 100 different nations when I was an overseas educator, taught me the most valuable lesson of all. People are people are people. That is, left to their own devices and not instigated to hate another race or religion by those with ulterior motives, the average person can get along with pretty much anybody from anywhere and can find common ground to understand, accept, and even appreciate the differences between us. So, this roadshow is about, getting into the what part, this roadshow is about sharing this information. I'm an education junkie as well as an adrenaline junkie. I don't waste hardly a moment of the day without thinking or learning or something. Watching, reading, whatever. So between what I've seen and what I've researched, I will be writing about things like, for example, in this book already, if you've read it, you know it's not just about woo aliens. I talk about history, science, politics, things we're not hearing from, well, whatever. A lot of subjects. So of these 14, 15 books or so that I'm working on, there's a book on health, spirituality, plus a few on, some of the things I've learned doing things overseas and whatnot. So all this information is going to be on the show. And again, for you today, special, always, for you, for everybody, $0. Okay, so, all right. You've seen this show is going to include live music. It's going to include excerpts from books I've written, books coming up, and so on. Basically, all the information that's in the RAMITS presentations. Yes, I'm kind of looking for another name because, I don't know, sounds too whatever. Anyway, so health, humor, meditation, miscellaneous and multiple application, music, psychology, spirituality. Basically, it's a toolbox of surviving to help you survive through anything. And I do mean pretty much anything. I won't get into what I went through that led me to all this stuff, but between everything I'd already learned and what I went through a few years ago. Anyway, so I've got a lot of information. So you will be seeing things on, let's see here, camping, travel, nomadic lifestyle tips. Because here's the deal. This whole show is about being able to do all this on the road. And whether you do it like all the time, like I'm planning on, or just on occasion like camping or whatever, you need to be comfortable, because if you're not comfortable, it sucks. And you can't wait to get home. But when it is comfortable, once you've managed all the hurdles, then you realize, hey, this is preferable to the, neighbor's yapping chihuahua or whatever. So, but you need to be comfortable. It's kind of like in Night at the History Museum, Part 2, Battle of the Smithsonian. Remember Hank Azaria? He's like, why, these are not real rubies at all. Ruby slippers indeed. Ah, but whoever you are, Archivanka, you have one comfortable throne. So, starting with the very chair you're sitting in, which this is going to be a whole section of how exactly I load up the car, everything color coded, labeled, and so on, because otherwise it just becomes a mess. All of that kind of information, so everything involving living on the road. And again, starting small with the vehicle, which in part C, I'm going to show you a quick tour of the campsite, which I spent a lot of time fixing up. But the idea is to have places like this where you can go around the country and eventually around the world and stay for free or for very little, and take your job, whatever you're doing, especially for writers, people like me, writers or musicians or whatever, small crafts kind of people, take something on the road. That's the basic idea. And so while I'm doing all this stuff, I will be mentioning from these various things that I'm talking about with, again, aside from all these travel tips. And they could be good whether you're an experienced traveler, beginning traveler, camper, whatever. How to fix up campsites. I had to, before I changed to mathematics, my major at COS was civil engineering, so I know just enough to be dangerous, as they say. But how to clear out trails and campsites and whatnot, things to look out for, how to do it easy. Again, it's got to be as little trouble as possible, or it's going to be a pain in the butt. So, all that information, and again, there's going to be recreation, starting with the BB gun that's holding up my music book right now. BB gun to base jumping, with rappelling some of these boulders. I don't know if you can see in the back there, but some of these little boulders around here are actually pretty good for beginner stuff. So I'm going to have people up here, folks in the vicinity, if you want to come learn to rappel. I need some people on camera. So, rappelling, all kinds of stuff that I do. Like I said, BB gun, setting up the recyclables as targets, whatever. And I'm not going to shoot things because I like my friends around here. They come around and talk to me and whatnot. So I don't want to scare them away too much. But so even education things, because I'm writing a book on education. A couple books actually on mathematics. I'll be mentioning some math stuff. And see, now keep in mind, I did not get into math because I was like, woo, algebra problems, yeah, go home for fun and do algebra problems. No, the reason I got into math was because the fun application, skydiving, skateboarding, which is my #1 exercise thing, which I'll be talking a lot about and shooting some video somewhere where there's pavement. So I realized a lot of these things that I was doing were nothing but physics, which the language of physics is maths, and that's when I got into it. And that's the kind of stuff I'll be talking about in my math books. If you want to be a better skydiver, if you want to see the fun applications of mathematics and skydiving, all that kind of stuff. So I promise, to borrow from the old commercial, I don't often talk mathematics, but when I do, I make it interesting. Stay thirsty for knowledge, my friends. Like that. So, music tips for travelers, again. Not too much instruction. I don't want to go there too much, but some tips, some songs, and so on. Again, with the emphasis on the nomadic lifestyle, the stuff that you're going to be dealing with. And again, we'll be taking this around the country. I've already set up one campsite, something like this, but not so big. Between Vegas and Pahrump, if you're familiar with the area. So we'll be traveling around, taking the show, seeing different lifestyles, and how to adapt to the different temperatures and whatnot. Because like right now, like I said, it's pretty cold, despite the sun and whatever. We're at 6,000 feet. So let me get to that real quick too, before I get into the rest of this thing. It's kind of like, dude, where's my campsite? Okay, well, I'm looking pretty much south. Yosemite is just a few hundred yards that way. Yosemite National Park. So as the wingsuit flies, El Capitan, which I've jumped off of 3 times at night for legal reasons. Anyway, that's about 15 miles that way. Mariposa, Oakhurst, Lake Hensley, which I'm going to be doing some broadcasts from near there. That's friend Esperanza and I were house sitting at a house for about a month, and that's when I started sun gazing, which I'll be talking about in the health and spirituality aspects of it. I don't eat but maybe a third of what I used to eat, and it's primarily because of sun gazing. And So you'll be hearing all kinds of weird things. In fact, there's something for you. I don't know how many people in the world have jumped off El Capitan and done the whole 44 minutes of sun gazing, whatever. So whatever that's worth for you. Okay, so some of the other things that we're going to be doing in all these different, I'm going to be breaking this YouTube channel into various programs, just like one channel had a bunch of different programs, into the health and spirituality and travel and so on and so forth. And you can see the written thing because I'm still kind of putting everything together because I'm having more and more and more ideas. But so it'll be broken into those things, and then I'll keep track of them that way. Some of the way I'll be getting the information across, aside from pictures and the music, I will be interviewing people. Today, I wanted to interview Al here. Not the full thing because, again, I'm trying to keep all of this short. The first official interview I do, which will be on a separate program of this channel, will be with Al. Short for aloe. He could be Vera, but he's not saying what. He's like, if you don't know the difference, screw you. But he's my buddy. He tries to be my pet. So he's got the dog ear thing going and everything. But anyway, the one question probably people are wondering is what's it like being a plant on the road? Because it's, as you can see, he's getting messed up and whatever. But I love his sense of humor. He's like, it's better than being a couch potato or a vegetable. Gotta love this guy. All right. Anyway, we'll talk to Al some more later. There's also, I've seen some deer. I've tried to get him to come on the show, but it's closing on winter time, and with the bear running around, it could be a pain in the butt, literally. So there was a bear here. This is how I discovered this area of the campground. But anyway, so that's where we're at. We're at an elevation of 6,000 feet. So it's a little chilly, despite the sun. So music, interviews, pictures, videos, health demonstrations. I need to change hats for this one so I don't lose it. My health things, you don't see anywhere to plug in a treadmill machine out here, right? So no, that's not the kind of thing I'm going to be doing. Like I said, skateboarding and whatnot. Another thing I wanted to show you real quick, if you've ever been a math student of mine or been in one of the classes that I subbed for, that I usually got coerced into doing this, I need to set this up real quick. But this is part of the balance thing, and I actually use this to warm up for skateboarding, which you'll see again when I do the whole segment with the skateboarding thing. So I need to move the camera here a bit so you can see this properly. And I think we're good there. Does that look about right? Yeah, I think so. Let's go that way. Okay. All right. So let me grab the thing. I'll show you. You can do this for a while, or you can do it fairly quickly like I'm doing today just to make it go quick. Let me get rid of this real quick. Shovel handle. Also good for calling Bigfoots. You know what? Let me tilt the camera down. Also for adjusting the camera. Look at this. Let me adjust down just a tad. There we go. So either foot. I usually start with the right foot, but okay, so this is a three-part thing. Here's part one. And trust me, your legs are working. This is a very good workout. There's part two, and then without catching it, So, we'll be doing fun things like that. And keep in mind that just living on the road like this, you burn up a lot of energy. especially clearing campsites and stuff. So, there's a lot more fun stuff to do. This is going to be pretty much the end of part B for now. I want to finish with a song, just to remind you that despite whatever the recording capabilities and whatnot, things will get better. Again, I'm looking for sponsors and donors, and thank you in advance. But either way, just be a little patient, because again, we're starting from basically ground zero. So with that kind of theme word, patience, here we go. And tuning up. By the way, the first thing that I teach people is how to tune up their guitar, because if your guitar sucks, you're not going to want to play it. So here's my version of Guns N' Roses' Patience. Shed a tear every sinew, I'm still alright to smile. Girl, I think about you every day now. Was a time when I wasn't sure, but you set my mind at ease. Well, it's no doubt you're in my heart now. Said, woman, take it slow, it'll work itself out fine. All we need is just a little patience. Said, sugar, take it slow, and we come together fine. All we need is just a little patience. Patience. I'm sitting here on the stairs, 'cause I'd rather be alone. If I can't have you right now, I'll wait here. Sometimes I get so tense, but I can't speed up the time. But you know, love, there's one more thing to consider. Said, woman, take it slow, things will be just fine. You and I could use a little patience. Said, sugar, take the time, 'cause the lights are shining bright. You and I got what it takes to make it. We won't fake it, oh, never break it, 'cause I can't take it. A little patience, yeah, yeah. A little patience, yeah, yeah. I've been walking the streets tonight, just trying to get it right, 'cause I've been sitting with so many around, and you know I don't like being stuck in a crowd. And the streets don't change, but maybe the name. I ain't got time for the game, 'cause I need you, yeah, well I need you. Oh, I need you, yeah, I need you this time. So, just be a little patience. But yeah, the whole streets thing, I don't like. That's another thing I like about the song. I don't like streets. This is, Paul Simon. I'd rather feel the forest beneath my feet, which is one of the songs I do, and I'll probably do it at some point. Come to think of it. Anyway, so but people need to get out, and so hopefully this knowledge that I'm sharing with people will help people get out. Because I think that's one of the problems with people and society in general is you're in the city too much. It's like Muir said, basically, that this is the best cathedral you can find. Nothing man-made will ever match this. So, that's my attitude. That's why I'm here, and I'm hoping to share that with people. Bring the dogs, because dogs like coming out too, and there's trees everywhere. Trees have bark, so there's bark, 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 bark. There's bark everywhere. They'll feel right at home. So, and they can whiz to their heart's content, and still not anywhere. Okay, so this is gonna be the end of part B. Part C, I'm gonna be moving around a bit, which. This is a laptop I'm recording on. It is not a GoPro, so I'm going to be going, but it's not going to be pro. It's going to be a laptop with legs. Anyway. All right. So let me do a little setup and so on. See you in a few.